Hey, what's up? My name is Paul Russell Park III, and you might know me as PRP3 the author. Now, in this video, I want to talk about the third book in my Warden series, Run the Table Operation Intense Freedom. This is the third novel in my Warden series, and the Warden series consists of 5 books, 3 novels, 2 novellas. Now, you're on here to learn about this book. Now, this book is the prequel. It happens before book 1 of my Warden series. Book 1 was All In, the Globetrot Shuffle. Book 2 was Cash Me Out, Life and Death in Paradise. And I wrote each book that I wrote it, as a standalone book itself. Then I thought, well, I like the first book I wrote that and it ended. Then I thought, well, what would happen afterwards? How would they make good on their money? What would life be like? And I got a lot of reader feedback. They wanted to know, like, okay, well, I like that story, but what happened on the island? They went to Dominica, and they bought a bar, but then what? So I wrote another book, Cash Me Out, Life and Death in Paradise, and it's kind of standalone, and it's almost a different genre. It's vigilante justice, it's crime, but it's no longer really about a financial heist anymore. That was the first book, and when that was done, people were like, "Oh, that's awesome. That's good. That's good. I like that. That was crazy, incredible twist. It kind of made me sad." But book 1 took place during the Iraq War, the 2003 invasion, and it kind of just talked about a couple scenes in the war. It starts like towards the end, and while they're in Tikrit. You don't talk about Baghdad or not, or any of the other cities in the south that they had to have fought in. How did that happen? What went on for them? What did they do during the war? So I got some feedback, and I decided I'm gonna write a prequel. This takes place before All In the Globetrot Shuffle, but also takes place. The Iraq War parts for the first book are in here, but they're either told from a different perspective or they're kind of like mentioned. But I didn't rewrite the first book to be in here. I wrote it in such a way where events from the first book are in here and they're happening, but they're not. It's new, and new. It's written in a way where it might be from a different character's perspective, or they may have talked about what happened, or it might not even be mentioned at all if it's something small in the first book. Really they just need to talk about the money, but this is not focused on the money that they find in book 1. This is the war. Now, this is based on my own personal experiences, the experiences of some of my friends, my platoon mates, some of the things we saw that happened to other people that we knew. So I want to read the back cover before I go into the book. So the back cover says, "Would you cheat if the deck was already stacked against you?" Paralyzed by fear, staring up at the sky through his gas mask, John Gabriel Warden is terrified and laying in a hole. 1 minute is business as usual, and the next there are gas attack alarms going off. As he waits to be gassed, he hears, "All clear. Mount up. We're invading Iraq." Warden is surprised that they're invading, and the thought of a well-prepared enemy waiting for them gave him chills. In this suspenseful military thriller, Warden is a U.S. Marine with the 1st Marine Division and is tasked to lead a team into their first combat experience. Warden will rely on what little training he's received and hope that'll be enough to see his team through a bloody war that'll leave him questioning everything that he previously believed. He's determined to protect his team until well past the end of hostilities, because he realizes that they are seen as nothing more than warm bodies to be cast aside when no longer useful. Is there anything Warden can do to ensure their survival in a shooting war against battle-hardened veterans and regime fanatics? Warden doubts it, but he'll give the enemy one hell of a fight. So that's a picture of me and my crew. We're holding the U.S. flag by Saddam Mural. And he's not named Saddam in my book. I changed it to Rais Sharif, President Mustache. We're in Baghdad, southeast Baghdad, the Rashid military complex area. First military college in Baghdad. That's where we're at. And the story, like I said, it takes place. You actually need to read the novella first, the build up to Operation Intense Freedom, and that tells you how they got to where they're at when this book starts. But if you didn't read the novella, you can always read it later. It starts off in a way that even if you didn't read the novella, it's good. It's all right. It starts off. There's gas attack alarm going off, and they're crossing the border, and it's action right away. There's Scud missiles, and then there's shooting. They cross the border. There's combat. There's combat later on that night, and it doesn't stop. And everything that you heard about, all the rumors or snippets that you heard about the 2003 invasion, it happens in this book. You know, they go through what I went through, and I didn't want to write an autobiography. I wanted to write a fictionalized story that's based on real events that will be captivating. So you're gonna see things that I saw that other people that were with me saw, and you're gonna experience our tale. And I wanted to tell our story, the 2003 invasion of Iraq's veterans, especially the Marine Corps, you know, First Marine Division. But we weren't the only ones out there. You know, the first UK Armored Division was there. The Third Infantry Division, U.S. Army, was there, and a lot of other supporting units of the Navy, the Air Force, and Army and whatnot, and the Marines in Kuwait, supporting us as we cross the border. And you're gonna see stuff in here that's gonna blow you away. You know, you're gonna hear, you're gonna read about things that I experienced and saw, like AC-130 gunships taking out enemy, you know, fighting positions. You're gonna see JDAMs. You're gonna see Tomahawks. You're gonna, you know, cruise missiles. You're gonna see artillery being lowered and firing at wood lines. You know, that the artillerymen are being fired at from. You're gonna see, you know, DCBMs, you know, still rain. You're gonna see all sorts of things that, you know, you're not gonna believe. You're gonna be like, wow, that's a lot, because it was a lot. It was a very fast, high paced, intense combat operation. You know, everything that was in our arsenal you could use, you used. It was used. You know, we saw people firing off AT4s. You know, because you kind of really didn't know when it was going to end, because they kept on saying, well, you know, he's going to capitulate, so the war might end tomorrow, and we may not go any further than where we're at now. You know, they were telling us that the army might take Baghdad, and the Marines will just stay in southern Iraq. If that happens, you know, if there's no fighting, and they invite us to the capital, that we might not even need to go to the capital, because, you know, our job is there to fight the enemy, and, you know, not do any of the other thing that the other things that are thought of when you take out an enemy, like occupying and whatnot. So so if you think that it's gonna end the next day, you know, you're not even sure you're gonna be alive to see the next day. But if you do survive, the war might be over. Well, if you're getting attacked from an enemy position in the outskirts of a town, why not throw, you know, all your grenades, or why not fire all your AT4s, or why not, you know, unload on machine guns, or why not call in some kind of, you know, coalition aircraft airstrike, you know, because you could, you know, you wanted to have the full experience of combat. I guess it sounds kind of weird, but that's how people in the Marine Corps are. You know, if you're gonna do it, you want to do it all, see it all. And it's an interesting story. It takes place from the border of Kuwait to the South Ramallah oil fields, to Nasiriyah, to Diwaniyah, to near Al-Qut, to Anu Namaya, Al-Azizia, Baghdad, to Crete, and then back down to Diwaniyah. And it's realistic. You know, it's not like this super human military unit crushing everybody. I mean, that's almost how it went. You know, the U.S. Military was almost unstoppable during the invasion. But, you know, real invasion is not what you see on TV. It's not like you see one or two clips of like intense action, and then you see another clip of intense action and another clip of intense action. Well, you don't know what's actually happening in between those clips. You know, what happens in between those clips? You know, what do the military guys do? Well, they're sleeping, they're trying to sleep, they're eating, they're digging fighting holes, they're going on patrols. Some things, you know, there might not be combat during one of those days, and there weren't for some units. So you get to see the total story, and when you start seeing it that way, there's really no climactic scene. You know, there's no storming the castle, there's no Mount Suribachi, there's just move, fight, fire maneuver, fight, move, and then it ends. And it just kind of peters out, I guess. and that's real combat. That's the real deployment. You're not gonna. This very rare where you have like flag raising on Mount Suribachi type scenes or experiences. You know, there's a lot of people on the island that didn't raise that flag. That they were they just they moved. They were fighting, moving, fighting, moving, fighting, moving, sleeping, digging, fighting holes, and then it ended, and then they went back on ship. So that it's written very realistically, and the combat's realistic. Everything is realistic. It's fictional, but it's based on real life, real things that happen to me and a lot of those people you see in that picture, and but it is captivating still, even though that you'll see a real deployment in all of its in all of its fame and glory, where it's not all what you think it is, and but it's still interesting what is happening during those times, because it's not all death and destruction. There are other things, funny things that happen at times. So you can find that book on Amazon. The ebook is exclusively on Amazon. But if you don't have an Amazon e-reader or whatever, you can download the e-reader app for free. You just buy the ebook, and you can open it up on your Apple iPhone and read the book that way. Or you can buy the book on the paperback on Amazon. But it's also available if you go to the websites of like Barnes and Noble, Books a Million, and whatnot, and look up the title, look up my name. You're gonna find it. It'll be there. You can order it and whatnot. So, if you liked it, leave a review. Come back to this video, leave a comment, and let me know what you thought. Let me know, if you have a question like about a certain something or a comment, leave it. And I like to interact with my readers and know what people think about what I write and whatnot. So like and subscribe and come back, because I'm going to be posting more videos about this actual book itself and talking about things that are in it that people, certain scenes or certain actions where people may not have believed it, and it may seem really fictional, but it might not have been fiction. So that's it. Appreciate it.